This is Professor Harper. I'm here today to teach you a lesson. And since football season is over, and we're kind of just waiting for the 100 or whatever odd days it's going to be until football season returns, it's going to teach you a little bit something about football defense and the 4-2-5 defense, and just give you a couple of basics just to start you off on how to set your alignments and what the alignments are, what the gaps are, things of that nature. So why don't you just get out your notebooks and we can start taking notes. The first thing that we want to know, that I want you to know about football and defense, is that you want to be aggressive. You want to play fast to the ball. We always want to rally around the ball, have 3 or 4 guys, maybe more. Really, we would like to have 11 guys to the ball at all times. However, I know a lot of coaches like to say that, and really, it's kind of impossible to get 11 guys to the ball at all times, because of the distance and the play time, and guys having to have to run and redirect and get places. But what I want to start out with is just our alignments. Learning the gaps really is the first thing that we really want to focus on here. So you probably won't be able to see this, but I'll make sure that I get it up close so that you can see. The first thing we want to do is we want to learn our gaps and then our gap assignments, okay? So standard football here. Okay. We're going to have, so you can see it here, we're going to have the center here, and we're going to play an A gap here. Sorry, let's put it up here. And these both gaps here are called A gaps. Okay? And the A gaps on both sides, it can be strong or weak, depending on the alignment of the tight end, what we call the tight end, who usually plays at the end here. Okay, he usually plays at the end there. So in this case, the strong would be, if the defense is over here, defensively left. So this would be the strong A gap, and then this would be the weak A gap. Okay? Now, none of the gaps is important because we need to know exactly where our techniques up front are going to have to play. And we'll get into that in just a second here. And then if this is the A gap, then obviously the next gap over is the B gap. Okay? Next gap over is the B gap. And then we'll have C, and C, and D, and D, and a D out here as well. Okay? So it's pretty simple stuff up front. We've got A gaps here and here, B gaps here and here, and C gaps here, here, and then the D gap that's outside here, outside there. All right, it's pretty simple stuff, and really, football really is it's really a simple game when it comes down to the strategy of putting guys in places. The problem comes in when you have a guy that's stronger than another guy and push him out of there. Guy's not playing to the capability, but on paper, it's really easy. Looking at it on paper, as a defense, you should be able to stop everything because your whole objective is to fill all of the gaps. And when you fill all of the gaps, then in theory, no one should be able to run the ball on you. You should be able to stop everything that comes inside and outside, in theory. Okay? So, moving on. What we'd like to do is to move these guys and put our guys in the position that we need to put them in. Now, again, I'll just draw this up for you. Up front, let's go strong. Here we go. All right, up front, we're going to have, for the 4-2-5 defense, we're going to have a 1 tech, a 3 tech, a 5 tech, and a 7 tech, with the 3 and the 7 going to the strong side, and the 1 and the 5 going to the weak side. Now, what's weak side? What's strong side? Again, here we go. Usually it's predicated upon the tight end. Tight end is here. We can see this. Tight end is here. So if our defense is on this side, it'll be defensively strong right. Okay? This is the strong side because they have more guys on this side with the tight end, and this is the weak side. So let's go over just the interior of the techniques here. Now it's kind of just like the A gap, B gap, C gap type deal. We'll get a 0, a 1 tech, 2 or 2-eye, 3, 4, 5, and then it gets crazy out there. Same thing here, 1, 2 or 2-eye, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So we can see it. It's the same deal here. You get a 0 that's head up, and then you get a 1 that's a shade. When we shade, that means we're going to split this guy here with our foot in between his feet, and our other foot on the outside of his other foot. Okay, that's a shade. And then you'll get a 2 or a 2-eye, which is head up, which I like the 2 eyes better. Okay, and then a 3 is an outside shade. 4 and 5, so on, so forth. And the same thing on the other side. Here we go. 0, head up. 1 is a shade to this side. 2, 2-eye, head up. 3 is outside shade. 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Actually, it goes 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, or something. Weird stuff like that. It gets kind of weird out there. Okay. But we're going to focus in on this here. So these are the techniques. Now, when I say techniques, these are the techniques that these guys are actually playing in. So if I tell a guy that I want him in a 1 technique, he will play the shade to that side. Okay. Now, seeing that we know that our 1 technique is going to be on our weak side of the defense, that means our 1 technique is going to be playing here with a shade on this side. Okay. So let's draw it up so that we can see it a little differently. Okay. Let's draw it up so we can see it. Still, I'm going to change the defensive strength. So our 1 tech is going to go weak, and we'll call him our nose guard. So we'll initial it with an N to know that he's the nose guard in the 1 technique. All right, and then we're going to have an N. We're going to put him in the 5 technique to the weak side. Okay. Now, on the strong side, we're going to put a 3 technique, and we're going to name him a tackle. He's going to be our tackle, defensive tackle, in the 3 technique. And then we're going to put another end out there. He's going to be in a 7 technique. Okay, got an end here. 7 technique. Okay? this is how it should look on the defense. Okay? We're going to be, if the defense is on this side, we have defensively strong left. We're going to put our end on the strong side, our 7 tech to the strong side, our 3 tech to the strong side, our 1 tech to the weak side, and our 5 tech to the weak side. Okay. So now, remember we talked about gaps. Okay? Go back. Remember we talked about gaps. A gap, strong and weak A gap, strong and weak B gap, strong and weak C gap, strong and weak D gap. Okay? Now these players play in the technique, and then they're responsible for one of these gaps. Okay? Now remember, in defensive football, we want to cover all of our gaps to make sure that everybody is responsible for a gap and that they play that gap and that nobody gets through there. Okay? So, going back to this, what gap do we think that this guy's responsible for? The weak side A gap. Okay? So, he'll be responsible for that gap. Alright, so we have this gap covered. The 5 tech on the weak side is going to be responsible for the weak side C gap. Okay? So we have that gap covered. Alright? Now here's the tackle at 3 tech. And he's responsible for strong side B gap. And the end, who's in a 7, is going to be responsible for strong side C gap. Now, we have 4 gaps covered, and we still have 1, 2, 3, 4 gaps still to cover. Okay? And don't worry, we don't play 4-on-5 football. Okay? So now here's where our linebackers come in. Linebackers stand on the next level. They can be considered part of the secondary, breaking to the second level. Okay? Alright? So we're going to put those guys in exactly where they go. Now their alignments are the same as far as the number system goes. Okay? What we talked about there. So let's place it. So we're going to have our Mike linebacker, who is the strong side linebacker, in the A gap. Okay? Because on the strong side, we have nobody in the A gap. So we're just going to put our Mike linebacker. Okay? And he's responsible for this A gap. 5 yards off the ball. And he has to play his A gap. Also, he has to scrape anything going weak and scrape the C, anything going strong. Okay? Anything outside. Now he's going to have to read his lineman, but that's another topic, another day. Okay? Alright, so let's look at that. Our Mike linebacker will sit and be responsible for this A gap. Okay? Alright, so then he's going to be able to scrape anything to C. If the ball flows out wide, he's going to scrape to C. If the ball flows weak, he's going to scrape down the line here, okay, to help this linebacker. Let's go. We're getting ready to put him there. We're getting ready to put him there. I'm sorry. Scrape C, anything here, scrape that way, okay? All right. So then our weak side linebacker is our dog. Now you can call him whatever you want to call him. I call him a dog. You can call him the Will. Common name for him is Will. Weak side Will. Strong side usually is a Sam. Yeah, you can use Mike. Mike is really the middle linebacker. The Will is the weak. Sam is the strong linebacker. A lot of people use Mike, Sam, Will. I use Mike, Dog, and Sam. Okay? And really, in which we can name the Sam a different name, but we'll get into that in just a second. Okay? So, we're going to add our dog in here. Our dog linebacker. Okay? We can see him here. Now, our dog linebacker is going to be responsible for this big gap. Okay? So now we have all of our gaps covered by all of our guys. So in theory, no one should be able to run on us right now. Okay? And the same thing for the dog. The dog's going to scrape outside if he gets outside run. And he's going to scrape inside, if he gets flow going this way. Okay? Here again. The dog's going to be able to scrape out here. And inside, if flow goes this way. Okay? So that, he's helping out this guy in case cut back, checking cut back, or whatever. Okay? So, we talked about ABC, and we have D gaps as well. Now, D gaps is a little different, but for the most part, if you cover A through C, no one should be able to run inside or off tackle on you. And then we're going to go talk about the outside. Now, the outside is a little different depending on what type of coverage you're in. Okay? There are three basic coverages, I guess, which is cover 3, cover 2, and then there's man coverage. And then you can mix it up, man coverage with 2 free. We call 2 free, man under, or man zone. And then there are other things that you can do. You can mix it up, play a 23 coverage, which is we have cover 2 on one side and then cover 3 on the other side. 35, cover 3, cover 5. Really, cover 5 is really an inversion of a cover 2. Different topic, different day. We'll briefly touch on. I'll briefly touch on cover 2 here because for what we're doing, we're working on covering gaps, and then cover 2, you get run support from outside, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So as we move on, placing the other guys, because we only have 4, 5, 6 guys on the field, and we play 11, all right, in football. So with that being said, let's go ahead and move on to the D gap, in which I was talking about. So we have D gaps outside here, okay? And when it comes to the D gaps, different type of people will play them. And this defense is a 4-2-5, so we already have our 4 up front. That's where the 4 comes from. We have our 2 in the middle. Okay, that's where our 2 come from, and then we're going to have 5 playing in the secondary. And this brings us back to the Mike, Sam, and Will. Remember, I was talking about Mike, Sam, and Will linebackers, and this is what we're talking about as it relates to the Sam linebacker. You can call him a Sam. In this defense, the Sam is really a nickel back. If you've ever heard the term a nickel defense, this is basically a nickel defense. The nickel back is that hybrid type of player who is like a linebacker but can cover like a defensive back. Maybe a slow defensive back, but he can cover like a defensive back. So we call him the Sam linebacker because he's actually playing that spot. Or you can call him the nickelback. You can call him the star. You can call him the super, the raven, whatever you want to call him, the invert. I like to call him the Sam, but I'm thinking after listening to some other coaches that ran this defense, I think I want to start calling him the star, which will still be an S here, but it's kind of cool to just name a kid the star. Because really the kid is going to be the star on the team. He's going to be the one that's going to be able to come up, make tackles, force guys outside of him so the other guys can make tackles. And in this case, the defense that we're going to go with, the defensive coverage that we're going to go with, is a cover 2. And in this one, basically he's going to spill everything outside of him. So these safeties, linebackers, and corners would be able to make tackles on anything coming outside of him. Okay, but he also fills a hole in case there's a seal block on the edge. Try to kick him out. He gets under him and stands in the running lane. And I know some of this might sound foreign to you, but you'll see what I'm talking about as we go on. Okay, so now the Sam's alignment is going to be predicated depending on the strength of the passing. Okay, now there's two strengths. The first strength is what we already talked about, the strength to the tight end on the offensive side. The strength in passing can be the same or different. I'm going to show you what I mean. In this set, we have our 5 linemen, and then we have our tight end sitting out there. Now, someone give us a twin look, the X and the Z out here. Show what I mean. Someone gives us a twin look where you have 2 receivers, an X and a Z, sitting out here. I know that's not very good handwriting and might have looked backwards because of the camera, but X and a Z sitting out here. Where we're going to align our Sam to this side because the passing strength is on this side. 4-2-5 is a great passing defense. Not a lot of teams really like to pass on it with 5 guys back there, dropping 7, sometimes dropping 8. Different things you can do. Okay, so our Sam will be on this side here to help. Now, if this guy were to be on this side, okay, then we'd put our Sam on this side because we have 2 passing threats, the tight end and the Z. Okay? Wherever your most passing threat is where you want to put your guy. So we have 3 on this side. We want to put the Sam on this side. Have 2, Sam on this side. If we get 1 on this, even if we have 1 on this side, 2, in which we call 2x2, 2 receivers here. You got a receiver here who's a tight end who's eligible to catch a pass. And we have another guy out here. We're going to put our Sam, well, really to the strength of the quarterback's arm. If he's right-handed, then he's going to go to defensively left, because the quarterbacks like to turn and open up right hand, throw that way. Okay? And then on the backside here, we'll just cheat our safety over. Okay, so we're going to go with this formation here. Okay? We're going to go with this formation here, and we're going to place our Sam and our corners, and then we're going to place our safeties. And remember, we're playing a cover 2, and I'm going to show you exactly what cover 2 is right here. So we're going to place our Sam. I did wrong alignment here. So we're going to place our Sam here, head up or shade inside of this Z here. And now we're going to place our defensive back, our cornerback, 5 yards and a shade outside of this receiver up top. Okay? And on this weak side, or on the strong side, defensively up front, strong side, we're going to place our corner 3x3 outside of this tight end because he doesn't have a receiver outside. Okay, so that gives us 3 in the secondary. We need 2 more. All right, so in football, you're going to have what's called the hashes. That's these little marks going down. Okay, that's these little marks that goes down the football field. Now, what I like to do is I put my 2 safeties on the hash. Now, one of them safety we're going to call a rover, because the rover is going to go to the side of the Sam. Now, the rover is a guy who's got speed, who can also tackle. So we're going to put him on the strong side because he's going to play more of the strong safety type. Okay? He's going to be more of the strong safety type. The guy that can run, cover like a corner, can tackle like a linebacker. Okay? Sort of like the Sam. He's kind of sort of like the Sam, but the Sam is more of a linebacker type guy. He can run and cover, but not very well. But he can do it. He can do a pretty good job of covering, and he'll come up and hit you like a linebacker. This Rover is more of a cover guy. He'll still come up and hit you like a linebacker, but he's an excellent coverage guy. Okay, he's a better coverage guy than the Sam is. Okay, so these guys are both kind of hybrid players that can play both positions. Okay, and then on our strong side or our weak side passing strength, we're going to put our free safety right on the hash. Okay, I messed up, so we had to put him on the hash there. So this is cover 2. Now remember we talked about the D gaps. Okay. Now it gets a little tricky, but not that tricky. Okay. Put this here so you can see it. Okay. Now, remember we have D gaps still to fill. Now, what's going to happen is this guy is going to read the offense. If the offense is going to run, he is going to make his way inside here. Now I know any other coach right now is who doesn't know this defense is probably saying, wait a minute, he's not going to run inside here, because if he gets trapped down in here, he is toast, and these guys are going to get outside of him. You are correct. You are 100% correct. He is going to play this D gap in a different way. He's going to spill everything out. So what happens is, if we get a runner running the ball this way, and he's supposed to come up in here, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to bring this guy right in here, because now the running back can't run outside of him. He either got to look for a way back inside. Really, we want him to go back this way, go out this way. We want him to run the bubble. Now, if somebody's going to come out here, if he's going to come out here, he's probably going to have a fullback here to come kick anything on the outside of the line out. Okay, and then we're probably going to get a down block or an out block, I guess, from here, and someone to come kick this Sam out of here. So what we're going to do is, when the Sam attacks, he's going to take it on with his outside shoulder, put his outside shoulder in the chest of this guy coming to block him, which now makes the running back stop, redirect outside. Now, why do we want him to do that? It's because we have this guy, the corner, playing the D gap. That's what I was talking about, the D gap. He's playing outside. Also, we should have help from the Rover, taking his steps, okay, reading run, and coming downhill to make tackle. Okay, he's going inside, he's going outside in, forcing everything back, because this is the force player. What we mean by the force player is that he's going to force everything back inside. This Rover is going to play inside out. Okay, inside out. So if the guy starts running the bubble, he's going to force him continuously to the sideline. Now this guy's going to force him continuously back inside. So what happens is we get a nice meeting point. This guy gets to tackle here. This guy tackle this guy here in the perfect world. So again, the runner's coming here. Sam meets him here. He runs the bubble. The Rover chases him. He continues to run. His corner is coming outside to meet him there. They both meet him at the same time, and the play is dead right here. Same thing for the other side. This corner has got an easy read on this tight end. Okay, if he reads run, he's going to end up playing the D gap and force everything back in here. Okay, force everything back in here. Okay, the free safety is also going to play inside out and stretch them out. Corner's going to bring them back inside, so they should meet, make a tackle right here. So now we have all of our gaps covered, and we know how everybody's playing. We're going to just go over the coverage and why I like cover 2 so much. Okay? Now, usually if you have a guy out here with this corner that's sitting over here on what I call the nub side with the tight end, he is going to funnel his guy inside to this free safety, because this guy's on the hash and he has to cover half of the field in the secondary. So he's going to have to cover from sideline to the middle of the field. Okay? This rover is going to have to do the same thing. He's going to play the sideline to the middle of the field. That's going to be his zone. Okay? Now, corner on both sides. Again, this guy comes off the line. We're going to funnel him, push him far inside, and then we're going to settle in a 7 to 9 yard, really 5 to 7 yard flat area here is what we call it, the flats. It's going to sit out here in this flat area and just defend this flat area. Okay? We're going to funnel this guy to this guy so he doesn't have to make a long run on a deep pass. Okay? Now, with the Sam, his job is to get a good contact on this guy and sink straight back into this barren area here that we call the hook or curl zone. Okay? Now, depending on what side of the field we're on and the strength, these guys are going to have to do something different. Now, the very weak part of this zone is 15 yards behind the cornerbacks and right here in the middle. It's where the quarterbacks like to usually throw the ball in those areas when they read cover 2. Okay? So, in this case, we're going to make it simple. The Mike is going to go to the hook. We're going to sink the dog in the hole. It's what we call a hole. Okay? So that way we have somebody in the hole. And the problem with a lot of defenses is these guys they don't get deep enough in this hole. And they get guys running behind them and catching balls, splitting these safeties. So we got to try to make it a harder throw for the quarterback. Okay? All right? So you can take a look at that. Okay? Again, the corners are going to play in the flat on both sides. Okay? Now, since he has a tight end, we're not going to worry about getting the funnel on him. He's already on the hash. Safety's on the hash. We're not worried about it. We're just going to sink, play our flat here. Watch for anything coming out of the backfield. Okay? Same thing on this side. We're going to funnel number 1 receiver. He's the number 1. He's the number 2 receiver. We're going to funnel this number 1 receiver in. Watch for anything that number 2 is doing. So we should get a good jam. So we should be able to ride this guy while we're watching this guy get jammed. And if he comes anything out here, then we're going to sit on it, all right, and play it. Okay, now if they both go vertical, you're going to still keep sinking. So the quarterback has to throw the ball up. And this guy can come off the hash and potentially make a play on the ball. Okay? So in this zone here, we got the dog playing the hole, the Mike playing hook curl, Sam playing hook curl, corners both in the flats, and then we have the free and the rover playing half the field, from sideline to middle, sideline to the middle of the field. Okay? So we have every part of the field covered as far as up front and on pass. We have every gap covered, every zone covered. So, in theory, there shouldn't be a pass caught, and there shouldn't be any run up front on us. We should be fundamentally sound football players, and we should be ready to go, ready to tackle, and get to the ball. Okay? So, that was just a crash course on the 4-2-5 defense, which is a nickel defense, which is mainly for pass. It's better on pass than it is on run. Trust me, I know this. So, I made the mistake of putting this as my base defense, in which it should have been actually a pass situational defense, especially in high school. So, especially where I come from, the Hampton Roads area, where we're heavy run in our district, and guys really run the ball very, very well. So, you probably want to make a 4-3 or 4-4 defense your base defense. And when you play a team that you feel like is going to throw, then we'll put this in. It's simple, it's easy for the guys to learn. Additionally, we'll use it for situation, third down, fourth and long, third and long, second and long. When we feel like these guys are going to come out and try to throw on us, we're going to put it in there so we don't have to worry about the run as much. We're just worrying about pass, especially when you have a slot receiver, this guy that's on the inside, the number 2 receiver, who's usually faster and more agile than the outside guy. The outside guy is usually a lot bigger. He's quick. He's a bigger guy. Type of guy that you want to hit on a deep post. Somebody that you want to run deep. The smaller guys is shorter, shiftier. The guy you want to get a quick slant to. Guy that you want to get the ball in, running behind linebackers, catching balls in open spaces and try to do something with it. Those are those type of guys that you want to have inside of there. So that's the reason why I really, really, really like this defense, because it works wonders against the pass. You can do a lot of things out of it. I like to what's called zone blitz. We'll still play a zone. We'll blitz linebackers and Sam linebackers, and we'll keep everybody else playing the zone. So, it kind of confuses the quarterback. It's like, hey, what are they doing? But you got guys coming 90 miles an hour at you, so you got to make a decision quick. And so that's one of the reasons why I really like, a few of the reasons why I really like the 4-2-5 defense. But that's pretty much basically it. So if you have any questions, any comments, you can call me, or you can email me, and I'll be glad to answer your questions. You can email me at dharperdd@gmail.com. I just decided to go just a different way. Teach something fun, teach something that people probably don't know a lot about, and maybe get some interest, and someone might ask me a couple questions, and a new coach might be born. And so, again, just send me an email if you have any questions, and you guys have a good day. All right.